Hello everyone, welcome back to Atreyu Crochet. So in today's video we will be continuing on with this crochet sock. If this is the first video that you're seeing, you definitely want to go back to the first video, which was last week's video, that shows you how to crochet this toe section of the sock. So now we're going to move on to the middle section of the sock. This is the point in which we will also switch to our secondary color. Okay, for me it's orange. So you're going to cut your yarn, and then you're going to bring in your secondary color and just hook the yarn on the crochet hook, pull it through like that. And then on the back side here, so you can see what's going on, don't let that come out, but you want to pull down on the blue there, okay? And then of course we should close this as well. Alright, but tug on that blue real tight until it pretty much disappears, that blue loop. Now we're going to tie a knot between these two tails, okay? So just tie a couple of knots, one and then two. Now I'm going to cut these tails down just so they're not so much in the way. Alright, so now we are on round 8, and remember at the end of round 7 you should have had a total of 36 stitches. So round 8 says with the secondary color, chain 1, and then single crochet into the next stitch. Alright, so this is where I slip stitched into that one, and then this is the next stitch. So I'm going to just go into the next stitch and put a single crochet there. And this time I'm actually taking it to mean what it said, the next stitch, and not the same one. Alright, so now we're going to skip one stitch and then put 3 double crochet into the next stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch, and then in this stitch we're going to put 3 double crochet. Notice I'm not chaining or anything, okay? So yarn over, skip this stitch, go into that one, and then I'm going to put 3 double crochet in there. So yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, re-enter that same stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, re-enter that same stitch for the third time, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops on our crochet hook, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Now it says skip one stitch and repeat from asterisk to the end. So we'll skip that one and go to this one, and we're going to repeat the pattern. So after this series of 3 double crochets, we know that the single crochet comes next. So skip, and then in this one we'll put a single crochet. Okay? And then, so you're always skipping a stitch. So that single crochet is in that one, we skip that one, and in this one, that's where we're going to put our 3 double crochet again. So that is essentially the pattern, you guys. That's 2, and then 1 there, and that's 3. Okay, so the pattern is, you'll see single crochet, skip a stitch, 3 double crochet, skip a stitch, single crochet, skip a stitch, 3 double crochet, skip that stitch because that's the next one right there, and enter in this one, and then we're going to put a single crochet. So continue in this fashion and I'll meet you back around here. Alright, so I'm almost back around. Crochet my single crochet. I'm going to skip a stitch, and then in this final stitch, that's where I'm going to put my 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. Okay? And then that will work perfectly with that single crochet that began this round. So now we're going to slip stitch into that single crochet, okay, the beginning stitch, And now we move on to round 9. So round 9 says to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip a stitch. So we're going to skip that stitch, and in the center stitch, that's where we're going to put a single crochet. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. It's going to look just like that. Now we're going to skip a stitch, so we're going to skip that one. We're also going to chain 1, and in this single crochet there, that's in between the two fans, the groups of double crochets, that center stitch, that's where we're going to put a half double crochet. So yarn over, enter the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. 1, 2, and 3, like that. Chain 1. So, and then we're just going to keep repeating this pattern. So now we're going to skip a stitch. So we chained 1, we're going to skip a stitch, and you're going to put a single crochet into the center double crochet of that group of 3 double crochets. So we chained 1, skip that first double crochet, enter the second or middle double crochet, and put a single crochet. Chain 1, and then in this single crochet we're going to put a half double crochet. So yarn over, enter the top of the stitch, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops just like a double crochet, but because we're making a half double crochet, when we yarn over we're going to go through all 3 loops. Chain 1. Okay, so we're going to keep repeating this pattern. The single crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1. For the single double crochet, we always put it on the center or that middle double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, that center one, that's where we always put the single crochet. Chain 1. And then for the half double crochet, we always put it on this single crochet there that's in between these 2 groups. So yarn over, enter 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3, chain 1, find the center double crochet, there it is, and that's where we'll put our single crochet. Chain 1, find that single crochet there, and that's where we'll make our half double crochet. Chain 1, find the center, there it is, that center double crochet, that's where we're going to put our single crochet. Chain 1, and there, you already know that's where our half double crochet is going to go. All the way through. Chain 1. Okay, so just continue alternating with that pattern. Single crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, and I'll meet you once we get back around. Okay, see you there. Alright, so we're back around. Here's that chain 4 that began this round. And notice that we ended on the single crochet, which is in that center stitch of the fan of 3, that center double crochet. So we end on the single crochet. From reading the instructions, it looks like the pattern ends on the single crochet, so I'm not going to chain 1 after this, okay? So I completed the single crochet, and now it says slip stitch to the beginning stitch. Well, here, for this round, the beginning stitch was that series of 4 chains, but more specifically that chain 1. So that's where I'm going to insert my hook into that very first chain there, yarn over, and pull all the way through, like that. Alright, so now we're going to repeat rounds 8 and 9. We just completed round 9, so now we're going to go back to round 8, and then we're going to do round 9 again after that. So we're going to repeat rounds 8 and 9 several times. Rounds 8 and 9 will be repeated through rounds 10 through 25. Okay, so basically that first orange round, that was round 8. The round we just completed was round 9. Now we're going to go back to round 8, which I'm going to do with you. That's going to be technically round 10, and then after that one we're going to complete round 9, and that's going to technically be round 11. Okay, So we're just repeating these 2 rounds over and over again until we get to 25 rounds. Okay? Let's repeat round 8 now. So round 8 says to chain 1, and then it says to slip stitch into the next stitch. Well, remember this was the series of 4 chains. We slip stitched into that first chain, so we're going to put a single crochet into that next chain because it said the next stitch. And now it says skip a stitch and then put 3 DC into the next stitch. So, alright, so we slip stitch into the first chain, we put a single crochet into that second chain, we're going to skip the third chain, and then technically we should be putting our 3 double crochet into the fourth chain, but I'm going to skip 2 stitches here, and I'm going to put my 3 double crochet into the single crochet there. Okay, so slip stitch into the first chain, single crochet into the second chain, skip the next 2 chains, that's all 4 chains, and then put 3 double crochet into the single crochet there. One, go back in there, complete your second one. 2, go back in there to complete your third one. 3. Alright, so remember for this round, technically round 8, which is technically round 10 for us, we alternate between the single crochet and the 3 double crochet, and we don't chain in between. So now we have to skip this chain and go to the next stitch, which is this half double crochet there, and that's where we're going to put a single crochet. Alright, and then we got to skip that chain and go to that single crochet right there, and that's where we're going to put our 3 double crochet again. 1, 2, go back in there for the third time. 3. Okay, skip that chain and put the single crochet into that half double crochet. Okay, skip that chain and then put our 3 double crochet into that single crochet right there. So we're skipping that chain and working our 3 double crochet into that stitch. I think you guys are understanding the pattern now. Okay, remember this is round 8, and technically we're working on round 10. Okay, so this is what you have, alternating between the single crochet and the group of 3 double crochet. So single crochet, 3 double crochet, single crochet, 3 double crochet, single crochet, 3 double crochet. Skip the chain, and in that half double crochet you work a single crochet. Skip the chain that comes after the half double crochet, so that chain there, and work 3 double crochet in that single crochet there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so remember all the single crochets go into the half double crochets of the previous round, and these fans, that's what I like to call them, these groups of 3 double crochets, they go into the single crochets of the previous round. So for instance, this is a single crochet right there, that's where the next fan will go. Single crochet will go in there, and the next fan will go there in that single crochet. Okay, so just continue alternating between single crochet and fan, and I'll meet you once we get all the way back around. Alright, so we're back around. You see that's the first stitch, the beginning stitch, that single crochet there. We ended on the fan, and so now we're going to slip stitch into that single crochet. Okay, so just go into the top of it like that, yarn over and pull all the way through. So we just completed round 10 using the instructions for round 8, if that makes sense. Okay, so we just crocheted round 8 again, and that made round 10. Now it's time to move on to round 11, and we're going to use the instructions for round 9 to crochet round 11. So looking at the instructions of round 9, it says chain 4 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now it says skip a stitch, which is that first double crochet of that fan, okay, of that group of 3. So skip that first double crochet, and in the center double crochet, that's where we're going to put our single crochet. That should sound familiar to you, okay? Because remember, whenever we crochet into the fans, we always use that center stitch, that center double crochet. Alright, and now we're going to alternate between single crochets and half double crochets. So since we just made a single crochet, you chain 1, and we know in between the fans, in between these two fans, there's a single crochet. That's where we put our half double crochet. So yarn over, go into the top of that single crochet, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. Remember, for round 9, you always chain 1 after you complete the stitch. Working into that center fan, that's where our single crochet goes. Chain 1. Working into that single crochet in between the two fans, that's where a half double crochet goes. So find the top, which is right there, top of the single crochet, yarn over, pull through to the front, 3 loops, yarn over, go through all 3, chain 1. Okay, so just continue on like this, and I'll meet you back around here. And I just thought about an easy way to help you remember whether or not you should be making a single crochet or a half double crochet for this round. So notice how when you look at the fans, you see there's kind of like that peak in that center. See how it kind of goes up? That's the center of that peak there. So just think about it. Because this is a peak, you need the shorter stitch. So that means that that should be a single crochet. Versus down here, that's where the valley is, so you need a slightly taller stitch. So for instance, here's the peak, so I use a smaller stitch, which is single crochet, then I chain 1, and then when I get to the valley, I need a slightly taller stitch, so I'm going to do the half double crochet. Chain 1. Alright, I'm at a peak again, so I need a smaller stitch or shorter stitch, so that's why I use the single crochet. And then now I'm at the valley again, so I chain 1, and then I'm going to put a half double crochet in there because it needs to be a little bit taller so that this is pretty much level. Does that make sense? Okay, so a shorter stitch at the top of the hill, okay, at the peak, shorter stitch, single crochet, and in the valley you use the slightly taller stitch, half double crochet. Peak, single crochet, valley, half double crochet. Hope that helps. Alright, so we're at the end. The way you can tell is that there's that chain 4 that began the round. And so now we end it with the single crochet. We're not going to chain 1, but we're going to slip stitch into that first chain, that bottom chain of that chain 4. So just insert your hook in there, slip stitch, go all the way through, like that. Alright, and now, even though technically this is beginning round 12, we're going to go back to round 8, which tells you to chain 1. And then single crochet into the next stitch, so that's that chain. That's the single crochet, okay? And then it tells you to skip a stitch, but remember, I like to skip 2 stitches and then just put my 3 double crochet into that single crochet at the top of the peak there. So that single crochet there. So I skip those 2 chains and just go to the single crochet, and that's where I will add my 3 double crochet. Like that. And then for the half double crochet, because I'm skipping that chain, the half double crochet, that's where I'm going to put the single crochet. Okay. So even though technically this is round 12, once again, you've now started round 8 again, the instructions for round 8. So as I said before, just continue repeating rounds 8 and 9 until you complete round 25. Your fans, these groupings of 3, should stack on top of one another. See how that fan is on top of that fan, and that fan is on top of that fan and that fan, okay? They should continue to stack. You don't want them to be staggered. If you have a fan that's there in between these, then that's staggered, and that's not what you want, okay? So yeah, just continue repeating rounds 8 and 9 all the way through round 25, and I will meet you there. So I have just completed round 25, which is way up here. And let me just show you an easy way to count. So remember, we switched to the secondary color, the orange, back in round 8. So this is round 8. That right there, that little notch in between, that's round 9. And then we repeated round 8 for round 10. And then that notch is round 11, round 12, round 13, round 14, round 15, round 16, round 17, round 18, round 19, round 20, round 21, round 22, round 23, round 24, right? And then here, this last one, that's round 25, okay? So if you're just counting the fans, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds of fans, and then you should end with this round 9, which is the round 25, okay? Alright, so that is going to be it for this video. So we've done the toe section, we've done the main foot section. In next week's video, we're going to start to work on the heel. So make sure you get these crocheted nicely, make sure the fans are stacking and it's looking like this, and I will see you next week. In the meantime, happy crocheting.